Good evening and welcome to Folk Beeston Club Show number 19.
Hey,
can you believe it, Andy?
He's young.
Yeah, it seems like a lifetime ago that we started all this, and it was only 19 weeks. Anyway,
it's been
what have we got this
to
week?
have that Doors Open music from Elaine Chipchase. And you'll notice the song titles are a bit cryptic this week. We haven't told you.
Oh, yeah.
And how many of those titles could you work out? Do add them to the chats and we'll let you know the answers at the end.
Right at the end. You'll have to watch the outros music to get all the answers. But thanks for that, Elaine. Excellent. And we're starting the show this week with you, Andy, and your accompanist, bass player.
Yes. My poor accompanist, Dave, has got a very sorely arm. So we've not been able to get our number together. We've had to revisit an old one, which I'm remarkable.
Well, I'm sure we'll enjoy it.
Anyway,
we'll enjoy it
anyway. Tune, one we enjoy.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we're moving on to Anne Sempic, who's doing a traditional song about fairs.
Yeah, and then it's our good friend Oban, who's doing, well, it's a bit of a mystery what he's doing, but we'll see when we get to it.
That's it. And then we're into our first guests, Brian and Veronika Smith, who have been to the club, and they're doing a song from the US, a traditional Civil War song. Yeah.
And then we get to our halfway point, our feature, and we got an interesting feature this week from Hugh Miller. A bit more about that when we get there.
Okay, that's good. And then Jay Minns, who's doing a song by Kate Wolf, I've not heard of before, but the song is good.
Oh, yeah, she's very good. Sue Woolard does quite a few by Kate Wolf.
Oh, I've also been listening.
Yeah. Anyway, Helen and Chris are up next, and they're doing a very well-known song from the 60s, one of the singer-songwriters of the time.
Okay. And then Phil Harrison is doing one of his own songs. He doesn't normally write songs, but...
no.
And it's about the guest we had last week, Jeremy.
Yeah, inspired.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. I remember when Phil did this first time at the club, and I thought how good it was. So looking forward to hearing that again. And finally, at the end of the show, we have our second guest, who's Karen Macleod, and she's doing a song from Sleepy John Estes. So certainly the guests have got a bit of a country, blues, bluegrass feel to them, haven't they, this week, Andy?
It's good stuff, yes. It's nice to have that variety.
Anyway, kicking off with you and Dave.
So,
doing Ain't Misbehaving?
Ain't Misbehaving. So are you ready, Dave?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Is he ever?
Hi everybody, I'm Andy and this is
Dave.
And we're going to do our signature song and it's called Ain't Misbehaving. 1, 2, 3, 4. No one to talk to all by myself, no one to walk with, but I'm happy on the shelf. Ain't misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you. I know for certain the one I love, I'm through with flirting, it's just you I'm thinking of. Ain't misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you. Like Jack Horner in the corner, don't go nowhere, why do I care? Your kisses are worth waiting for, believe me. I don't stay out late, nowhere to go. I'm home about 8, just me and my radio. And misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you. Over to you, Dave. One more time. Like Jack Horner in the corner, don't go nowhere, Why do I care? Your kisses are worth waiting for. Believe me, I don't stay out late, nowhere to go. I'm on my birthday, just me and my radio. Hey, misbehaving, I'm saving my love for. Hey, misbehaving, I'm saving my love for. Hey, misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you.
Cool, man.
Hello, Anne.
Hello, Jim.
Hi. How's things with you?
They're all right, thanks. Very good.
Jolly good, jolly good.
And how about with you?
Oh, well, you know, sort of plodding on, as the saying goes. There now, you're going to sing a song called She Moved Through the Fair.
Yes, that's right.
Tonight, which sounds rather intriguing. Why did she move through the fair?
It's not clear, I think. It seems to be a song which some people associate, for some reason that I don't understand, with the possible reunification of Ireland. So it was written by somebody speaking of a marriage between the Republic and Northern Ireland. But I prefer to think that it's just a story or song about an unhappy love affair which ends in the maiden's death. And so she's actually a ghost when the person singing is singing about her.
Oh, right.
And I personally think that she's singing that, you know, there she is, and she's saying it won't be long till our wedding day. But actually what she's probably meaning is that he's going to die quite soon and they'll be reunited in heaven.
Oh, right, in heaven.
Really happy song.
Yeah, right, yeah. So glad you said heaven in the end, but
Yeah, well.
God, blimey, purgatory perhaps. Anyway, oh, right. Well, okay. Well, that sounds very interesting. Anything else to tell us about it, or what's the tune like? Is it good?
It's in what people call, or what is known as the Mixolydian mode, which is one of the minor modes with a flattened seventh. So it sounds kind of creepy.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's interesting. That sort of all the flat keys, just that you're immediately there, aren't you? This is not going to be the happiest of songs.
Exactly.
Right.
And this one doesn't change into a major key, so it finishes, you know, kind of spookily.
Oh, great. Okay, well, let's go to ghostly happenings then.
Okay.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Then.
She moved through the fair. My young love said to me, my mother won't mind, and my father won't slight you for your lack of kind. And she stepped away from me, and this did she say: it will not be long, love, till our wedding day. She stepped away from me, and she moved through the fair, and fondly I watched her move here and move there. And then she went homeward with one star awake, as a swan in the evening moves over the lake. Last night she came to me, she came softly in, so softly she came that her feet made no din. She laid her hand on me, and this did she say: it will not be long, love, till our wedding day.
It's probably not as cold in Beeston today as it is in Hartlepool, but there are some grey clouds and it's windy and there's been a bit of rain, which sets the scene nicely for this song, which is Sea Coal by Graham Miles, written in 1950. Sea coal, sea coal, hear the man call. Sea coal, sea coal, hear the man call. If we go buy a bag, we'll have nought left at all, for we need our bit money to buy bread and meat. And if we must go hungry, then at least we'll have heat. Sea coal, sea coal, hear the man call. Who'll buy, who'll buy, hear the man cry. It's just a few shillings for the finest of fuel. Come stoke up your fires now, for the weather is cruel. It's a cold place in winter, is old Hartlepool. Sea coal, sea coal, hear the man call. See him, see him, see him at the end of the road. If we don't go by quick, then it all will be sold. I can see by his wagon that small is his load. And if we must go hungry, then we needn't go cold. Sea coal, sea coal, hear the man call. Sea coal, sea coal, hear the man call. Sea coal, sea coal, hear the man call.
Hi there, and we come to our first guest spot of the evening, and unfortunately Brian and Veronika, who are our guests, couldn't join us for a chat. So Andy, I think they've sent you a few interesting notes about themselves and what they're going to sing.
They certainly have, and Brian and Veronika have been down the club a couple of times, and they've also played, because Dave Quick plays double bass with them, and banjo player Polytunnel Paul, and they've played as a foursome. Anyway, they're doing a song called The Bright Sunny South, and it originates, well, it goes back to the 1860s, I suppose. It's about the American Civil War and about a young lad who goes off to war and all the implications of that. But I think the original inspiration for this song is a banjo player called Doc Boggs, who some of you may have heard of. Not one of your influences, Colin.
Not mine, no. I've heard of old Scruggs. But
yeah.
That's not what you said, is it?
No. Doc Boggs is the Boggs is the one. It's an interesting name. But Brian and Veronika found his version a bit dour, really. He's quite a somber singer if you look him up. But they heard the song done by Alison Krauss and a band, The Unification, which is, Alison Krauss and the band are just brilliant. And I can understand why it appealed to them. So their song is really based on that version of it.
Great.
So, shall we have a listen?
Why not?
Okay, over to Brian and Veronika.
We'd like to do you an American Civil War song called Bright Sunny South. Some of you have probably heard it from Veronika and I, either at Beeston or at Long Eaton. basket he had spread from the cool shady forest and deep flowing stream. Ever fond in my memory and sweet in my dream. Oh, my dear little sister, I still see her too. When I had to leave home, now 10 years, and my sweet gentle mother so dear to my heart. It grieved me sincerely when we had to part. Said my kind-hearted father as he took my hand, as you go in defense of our dear native land. Someday say, but your mercy whenever you can. Our hearts will be with you when we meet again. In my bag there's a Bible to show me the way through my trials here on earth and to heaven someday. I will shoulder my musket and brandish my sword in defense of this land and the word of the Lord.
And thanks, Brian and Veronika, for that song. And now we've got to the middle of our show, which is our feature spot. But before we go there, we've got one or two notices, haven't we, Andy?
Okay, First Carrington Triangle Folk Club is running their virtual sing around, and if you'd like to join either as performers or audience, you'll be most welcome. If you go on to the Carrington Triangle Facebook page or website, you'll find contacts there. Okay, good. And then it's Vox Jam.
Well, that's right. This time next week, we'll be in the middle of our special Vox Jam show. And Vox Jam, of course, is a show that will be raising money for Oxfam, linking in with the local Ox Jam takeover team. And the festival itself is on Saturday the 8th, but we're doing our special the night before, of course. Same place as ever for our normal show, but it will be slightly different. And at the end of it all, there'll be a special performance by Jill and Bernard Blackwell. So we hope you'll want to join us. And we hope also that you'll want to pay £10 for a ticket, which will entitle you to see the entire festival, 10 hours of music on the Saturday. And if you can't do that, if you just want to watch on Friday, then we hope you'll feel like making a donation and find the Just Giving page and do that. For more details, search for Vox Jam on Facebook, or you can go to our own website, folkbeeston.club, and look for Folk Online. There's a section there all about Vox Jam with the links to We Got Tickets for a ticket or Just Giving to make a donation.
Okay, thanks, Colin. We actually have a feature this week, and Hugh Miller, who performs regularly on the show, has got really good at doing videos for his own performances, but he's done a feature on harmony singing in folk music. So over to you, Hugh.
Let's have a listen.
I've always loved vocal harmony, and the post-war British folk tradition has got lots of harmony in it, from the Watersons.
Here we come a-wassailing among the leaves o' green. Here we come a-wandering so fairly to be seen.
To modern groups like Coop Boys and Simpson.
Fare you well, my own true love.
Farewell for
was always puzzled that the general opinion of the tradition from which my music comes is that it was a solo or a unison tradition, and all the stuff that was recorded at the beginning of the 20th century was pretty well harmony free. And I wondered why this was and how much it was actually true. For a start, other European traditions have got lots of harmony in them, as in Southern Europe. Or in Eastern Europe. But the only traditional example of harmony singing that most people talk about is the Copper family. You've got a very well set up tradition which has been going for a long time.
These words were composed by Spencer the Rover, who travelled Great Britain and most parts of Wales.
So, is there any more harmony? And if there is, where did it go? Well, historically, there seems to have been harmony singing in the countryside. The West Gallery tradition of singing in church, maybe only for hymns and psalms, seems to have involved a lot of harmony and well-organised music. Here's a reconstruction. And some of that kind of thing has been carried forward to the modern tradition of the Christmas carol singing in South Yorkshire pubs. And there are some traces of harmony elsewhere. A couple from Sussex, recorded in the 50s, show quite similar stuff to what the Coppers were doing.
Just on the morn of Valentine, when birds began to feed, dined in servant maids and men, they all began to meet.
And here's a recording from the Smith ship at Blacksall, which was a source for a lot of traditional material in the 1950s, which show that once the chorus got going, there was at least some trace of harmony there.
From when and where did you came? Oh, it just come down from Liverpool down and Dolphin is our name.
But why not more? Well, I think perhaps one of the reasons is that in the first revival at the beginning of the 20th century, people were going round recording older singers, mostly singing in their kitchens or in their gardens by themselves, and there wasn't much room for harmony singing if you're by yourself. And maybe the tradition that they were coming out of, people singing in pubs to some extent for money, was a solo tradition. The Copper family have a very strong family tradition of singing together and singing at home, which is good conditions for working out harmony stuff. And it's interesting that the Watersons talked about the same kind of thing in their family when they were growing up and as they were developing their stuff. So it's possibly that the English tradition isn't musically a solo or unison tradition, but just at the end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century, it was practically pretty much of a solo tradition. And so maybe some of the harmonies that we might have got carried over from the West Gallery stuff, have got lost. We won't know, but we've developed our own harmony tradition, which I really enjoy.
Good evening. Tonight I'm going to sing you a song by Kate Wolf, who I'd never heard of until 2 weeks ago when this song popped up when I was fiddling around on YouTube. And I played this song and in less than a minute I thought, oh, this is a lovely song. I'm going to have a bit of a crack at this one. I did a little bit of checking up on, for those of you that don't know, Kate Wolf, she actually died in 1986 at the very young age of 44. She died of leukemia, apparently. But fortunately she left a legacy of some very beautiful songs, and I hope you like this one. I think it's definitely one of them, and it's called Green Eyes. Every night we light the candle that stands beside our bed, and sometimes the flame's too much to handle. That's what you said, that's what you said, and you should know, because you built a fire in me and you made it burn, and you followed me, watching every move, watching every turn. Your green eyes, they don't miss a thing. They hold me like the sun going down, warm me like a fire in the night without a sound. Waiting till I heard, just as patient as that love light in your eyes. You never threw away a word or ever talked in a disguise. I ought to know. You were a beacon to a sailor lost at sea. I saw it in your eyes when you looked at me so openly. Your green eyes, they don't miss a thing. They hold me like the sun going down, and warm me like a fire in the night without a sound. Saw your laughter break loose inside and tumble out to me. My heart knew it had found what it was after, and it came so easily. We should know, after all the years of the hard and lonely times, now our days go by like best friend storylines. Yours and mine, your green eyes, they don't miss a thing. They hold me like the sun going down, warm me like a fire in the night without a sound, without a sound.
Hi, this evening we're going to perform for you Four Strong Winds, an old Canadian folk song written in 1960 by Ian Tyson and most notably performed by Ian and Sylvia in 1963, recorded I should say in 1963. It's been covered by many artists over the years. Neil Young probably one of the most well-known in 1978. So as you can see, it dates back a bit, very popular song in its time. It is a love song, a chap who starts to realise his relationship is waning a little and perhaps needs to move on, and he's feeling the pull of his home, which is Alberta in Canada. He's holding on to a vague hope, I think, that his lover is going to come and find him and they maybe start up again, but I think that hope starts to wane as the song progresses. There are lots of choruses throughout, which I'm sure most of you out there will know and will have heard at some time. So yeah, please join in. We're playing it in the key of D, and yeah, we'll get on with it. So enjoy the song, Four Strong Winds.
Last week we had Jeremy Galgut as a guest on the show. Jeremy writes all his own songs. I just do covers. I don't write my own songs. But a few years ago I had a conversation at Carrington Triangle Folk Club with Jeremy about the subject of songwriting, and he told me how easy it is to write songs, and I explained to him how difficult it is, for me anyway, to write songs. But after that, not long after that, I gave it a go, and I wrote down this song, and I called it One for Jeremy. And I can now call myself a singer-songwriter, even though I've only written the one song. That's all you need, just the one. The other thing you might notice is that I always have a green screen behind me when I'm doing my videos. There is a reason for that, and tonight I'm going to let you into a secret, which is what's behind the green screen, so that's a treat for you. Anyway, One for Jeremy. He said anyone can make up a song. It really wouldn't take all that long. You can do it in the shower in a quarter of an hour. Just remember you must write it all down. Just remember you must write it all down. I said it just doesn't happen for me. No matter how I try, can't you see? Though I'm ready to write and lay awake half the night, just can't conjure any sweet poetry. I just can't conjure any sweet poetry. He said it happens when you're out in your car. You won't have to drive very far, and the words will appear with a tune you'll hear if you look for your musical star. You must look for your musical star. I said I know it might be easy for some, but for me the words just don't come. Though I try all the time, I just can't find that rhyme or tune I could easily hum, or a tune I could easily hum. Still I thought I'd give it a go, and it seemed to work, don't you know? So I wrote down this song, it didn't take long. I can hear him say I told you so. I can hear him say I told you so. Thank you, Jeremy.
Hello, and it's great to welcome to the studio Karen Macleod. Hello, Karen.
Hello.
Hi, Karen. I'm going to start by asking you about your musical history, really. When did you start playing guitar, and when did you start performing and singing? And tell us some of the things you've been up to.
Okay. Well, I didn't start playing out until I was about in my 40s, so about 20 years ago. But I picked up learning the guitar from my dad when I was a kid, and he used to sing me to sleep with old Hank Williams songs and country songs and American blues songs, Woody Guthrie, that sort of stuff. So it's kind of in my bones. And I was, I guess, more interested in playing the guitar initially than actually singing, because I just felt more confident in playing the guitar than with my voice. And it was also, I don't know, a skill that I just felt was worth developing, and got to a certain point and thought, well, it's worth giving it a go live, which I did. And I joined a duo initially called Sanders and Macleod. Very original. Sounds like the Solicitors, but it was a blues. And my role there was to be the accompanist. I worked out all the guitar arrangements, and Martin used to play slide guitar and do the singing. And then I went on to join with Gordon, who was also the lead singer out of Wholesome Fish, which is probably quite a well-known band from these parts. And again, we did country blues. He has a hell of a voice, unbelievable, so authentic sounding for somebody from West Bridgford. And I got involved in doing more harmonies, so I got involved in singing. Sadly, Gordon passed away about a year or so ago, so I've now had to reinvent myself as a solo artist, still doing country blues. And I also do instrumental.
Yeah, what were you called? Do tell us what you were called.
The Hog Renderers. Yeah.
Sounds very barbecuey.
It's memorable.
Exactly.
It's memorable. And I think there's some stuff up on Bandcamp if people want to have a listen. Is that right?
Yeah, there's 2 CDs. One is called If Whiskey Were Blues. It should have been If Blues Were Whiskey, but the guy recording it wrote it down wrong, and we thought we'd just stick with it.
That's good.
And the other one is called Far From Gruntled, which is into the old P.G. Woodhouse stuff, I think it was. Yeah. But if you've got the blues, you're far from gruntled, aren't you? So they are downloadable and they're free from Bandcamp.
Great, great. You've played some pretty big stages, I gather.
Yep, from my own living room, like a couple of days ago, to played at Colin Blues Festival, and Gordon and I played at Glastonbury in 2015 because we were spotted playing at the Tilt Blues and Cocktail Bar in Nottingham. And we were asked, I think in November, whether we'd fancy having a go down on the Bread and Roses stage. And then we forgot all about it, and were then called in the February to see if we wanted to do it, and went in the June to play in 2015. And it was a great experience. It was really good fun. So, yeah.
I can well imagine it. There's a hint there for all our local performers. Get out there and do more. Anyway, you're going to do a song called The Floating Bridge by Sleepy John Estes. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Sleepy John Estes, he was a blues, he was from Ripley, Tennessee, not Ripley, Derbyshire.
Don't be worried there.
He used to play with the Medicine Shows and played in a band with a harmonica player and a various Yank Ratchel, I think, with the mandolin player. And this particular song was based on a true experience that he had when he was coming home from playing with these guys from some party, and presumably not entirely all compos mentis, and they drove onto a floating bridge, which is like a pontoon, and it wasn't securely attached, and so the whole thing just collapsed underneath them, and they vanished into the river, and he nearly drowned. So that's the story of the song, that he had a near-death experience, I suppose. But Sleepy John Estes and I have something in common, I found out when I was looking up some of the information about who he played with. And one of the things I realised is that, for a start, I was playing, on my interpretation, I played the harmonica line as a guitar riff. I didn't realise. I just heard it in my head differently. And so it doesn't sound like the original, but I guess that's no bad thing.
That's good, that's good.
Yeah. And I guess the other reason I was chose Sleepy John Estes is because I found out we've got something in common. A bit dubious, but he's got a single called going back to the 60s. He's got a song called Special Agent, and it was about, that's referring to the railroad police who threw him off a train, and he was freight hopping on the way to a recording studio, and that's what the song's about. And I had a similar experience because I was also thrown off a freight train by railroad police because I crossed the states on freight trains set off in West Virginia, got arrested in Chicago, and finally made it over to Washington State to pick apples. But it was quite a hair-raising experience because we did get arrested and held up at gunpoint in the freight yard in Chicago. So, but I guess that's where my similarity with him begins and ends, and I'll obviously never sound like him, given that I've got a female voice and he hasn't.
Well, you've still got a good career ahead of you. That's the main thing. And as well as performing for us now, of course, you're going to be performing at Fox Jam in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
Yeah, see more of you there. Anyway, thanks very much, Karen. We'll have a listen to Floating Bridge and say bye.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
It's blues by Sleepy John Estes called Floating Bridge. Well, I never will forget that floating bridge. Well, I never will forget that floating bridge. I never forget that floating bridge. They tell me 5 minutes underwater I was hit. I went down, I throwed up my hands. I went down, I throwed up my hands. I went down, I throwed up my hands. Please take me on dry land. Well, they carry me to the house and they lay me across the bed. Well, they carry me to the house and they lay me across the bed. Carry me to the house, lay me across that bed. Couldn't hear nothing but muddy water run through my head. All the people on the bridge, they're standing and crying. Yeah, people on the bridge, they're standing and crying. People on a bridge, standing and crying. Lord knows we don't know where we're going. Well, I never will forget that floating bridge. Well, I never will forget that floating bridge. I never will forget that floating bridge. Tell me 5 minutes underwater I was hit.
Well, thanks, Karen. Great way to end the show, although we don't really want to end it. But that is it, I'm afraid. The end of show 19. Who would have thought it?
Yeah, it's been really good, and I've enjoyed that change in shift from bluegrass and blues this week.
That's right.
Great artist.
But we must thank Elaine, of course, for her totally unbluesgrass or unbluesy English music at the start of the show, and of course a bit more to come on the outros.
And I hope the brains haven't gone too pudding-y, that you've got most of the song titles from Elaine's contributions. Yeah.
If you hang on, you'll see them all anyway, so that'll be good. So thanks to all our guests this evening, Brian and Veronika and Karen and everybody who's performed, including you, Andy, with Dave, and all our regulars. And what have we got next week?
Next week, yeah, another star lineup. We've got Steve Benford and also Knots Alliance, who are one of our foremost harmony groups. And really looking forward to that.
And of course, we've also got our special treat for the Box Jam special, and that's Gillett and Bernard Blackwell. So don't forget to get your ticket or to make a donation. Easiest way, go to our website, folkbeeston.club, and look for the links under Folk Online.
Okay, bye everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, goodbye. See you next week.
Thank you.